So I do relate to it.
So, as I said before, that I saw that your living blood was quite healthy. Now this is your dried coagulated blood, and you can see it looks like a tyre tread. It's got black lines through it, which is really good, because that means that your diet is healthy. Basically, in general, you're quite healthy. That's why it's got these black lines. It means your diet's, you know, fairly good in green foods and etc. And it's a very tight mesh, as you can see here. I do see some white holes at the end on the outskirts, and that area represents your lymphatic system. So there is some, what I pick up, there is some congestion there, some acidity there that's not been. Maybe you need to do more exercise, or maybe you need to have more alkalising foods and drinks to clear that.
And can you see the presence of toxic metals in the dry blood, or does it?
Yes, we normally can see heavy metals, but in your case, I can't see any heavy metals in your system, because we usually see them on the outskirts.
And what about adrenal function? Was it on the dry blood you could see adrenal stress?
Yes, there is no adrenal stress for you. Adrenal
there you go, we're doing something right.
Yeah, I mean, adrenal stress normally appears as some fine pinholes in the centre, but as you can see, in the centre of your blood, you've got a good fibrin connection, but you do have over here this hole. Can you see that hole?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that means that your liver's under some stress.
Okay.
Okay. And that probably was the gin.
I thought I was just going to give up beans.
So that's quite. So this is like obviously, you know, Sheila's blood, and does it mean something that it's yours,
does.
and it's a mirror of what's happening inside?
It clarifies a lot for me. And I just wonder that, you know, I've come as a fairly healthy person, and I've got some benefit from it. So the sort of people that come to you, what sort of cases do you see, Errol?
They vary. I mean, it varies from someone with, say, arthritis for 14 years, constantly under attack, and tried everything, you know, all private medicine, tried everything abroad, and literally just by changing her diet, she'd had about 4 or 5 attacks a year constantly for 14 years, but by changing her diet, was probably about a year ago, has had not one single case of that. And I've had people that have managed to balance their blood sugar, come off insulin, for type 2 diabetics. Fatigue and weight loss are the main key ones. I mean, people lose weight like this because it's so simple. It's not a diet. It's just a lifestyle. It's really basically, it's common sense. If you eat acid, then you will get fat. If you eat alkaline, then the body will, there's no acid, because literally all fat is the body's, fat is your friend. Fat is there to buffer the acids. So you park the toxins that you're eating in fat cells. So that's why the body holds it. But when you start to eat normally, healthily, then the body will say, well, I don't need to hold on this fat, so it just literally goes. So I've had people that have lost a pound a day for 14 days, which is amazing, but it's not really, when you put the right fuel into your body, it's like that house again, it will function properly.
Because the other symptom, common symptom, is someone who's always hungry and wanting to snack. So is that one of the symptoms of the yeast being present?
Yeah. Do you get that at all? Okay. No, because I just thought, well, you had a lot of
sugar.
Because when you do get that, you're constantly, and when you try to do this and you start to get rid of the sugars, eliminate the sugars, then you'll notice it. Because at the moment you're constantly feeding the sugars when they need, feeding the yeast when they need to be fed, so that's fine. But the minute that you say no, that's when they go berserk, and then that's why most diets don't work, you see, because most people will usually break it and revert back to what they do.
And it's holding through while we have the reaction to
So in a cancer patient, for example, what would you see? Obviously you would see sort of greater degree of clumping and or is it possible to see really healthy cells in a cancer patient?
No, never. cancer, from our perspective, we don't recognise disease. We see there's an imbalance. So, but we do see markers in particular diseases. And with a cancer patient, the classic thing that you would see are lots of streaky lines and mesh and toxic waste in the blood. The blood's always usually clumped together. There's low levels of oxygen, very, very poor levels of oxygen. And remember that the red blood cell, the haemoglobin, is an oxygen carrier.
Yes.
So for it to be that low, that's why you have such a bad degenerative condition. We actually just look at just trying to get the blood clean.
Yeah. And can you pick up parasites and things like that within
parasites? Yeah.
But from a medical perspective, you know, one would argue that if you saw parasites or fungus in the blood, that cannot be possible. So you're obviously seeing another aspect of it. It's not real fungus, otherwise we wouldn't.
A lot of you see, you have to go back about 200 years ago, and there were two gentlemen that lived. One was called Louis Pasteur and one was called Antoine Béchamp. Antoine Béchamp, this is his work basically. He postulated the theory of pleomorphism. Now what he said was that if you can keep the blood cells clean and healthy, then you would be healthy all the time. And if you create a toxic waste dump inside the body by putting the wrong foods in, then you will grow bacteria, etc. And that will lead to disease. And Pasteur came at it with another angle, and he said that it was all about the germ and the bacteria, and we had to kill the germs of bacteria. Well, I actually read from the Paris libraries that Pasteur didn't much like Béchamp, and the truth of it was that he broke into his laboratory, Béchamp's laboratory, and took his notes, but he couldn't understand his notes, so he said it was the bacteria. So then he came up with the germ theory, and now we have today's
so is that the theory, therefore, that says the germ is nothing, the soil is everything? That's
exactly,
the bottom line, isn't it? The terrain is everything.
The terrain is everything.
Exactly. I mean, if you want to, I always say to a lot of my clients, look, if I give you an apple seed and I say to you, go and plant it in the soil, more likely it will grow. Okay, but if I gave you the same apple seed and said put it in the sand, it would never ever grow, never. And that's the way that we look at the blood, and that's why we've had results with cases that maybe doctors haven't been successful with, simply because they're looking at it from a different perspective. I mean, it's unfortunate because medicine took a fork in the road that time, and it's common sense really. You are what you eat. If you eat and drink the right foods and you look after your body, then you'll be healthy. That's it, rather than
Well, I shall do what you told me to do.
So Errol, before we finish, can you suggest to our viewers, say 3 key factors that they can take away today to help improve the quality of their blood?
Okay, the first thing that I'd probably say is drink really good quality water, alkaline water, and I would say probably try to get some exercise. I mean, you don't have to start off with anything too strenuous. I'd normally say to most people, try some qigong, do that. That's an easy form of exercise, and if your blood's kind of toxic, then you don't really want to be doing something really strenuous. And then thirdly, I'd say just make some changes to your diet. Obviously, remove as many sugars as you can as possible, and replace them with some healthy options. I mean, one of my clients loves sugars, and she was constantly tired, but after 3 months she wasn't so tired, and I introduced her to eating sugar snap peas. So she likes them. She can snack on those instead.
And they're okay?
Yeah. And they too contain sugars, but the right kind of sugars.
Yes, okay. Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. I hope you enjoyed that and found it interesting. And see you again on Conscious TV. Thank you.